because impeachment is not about punishment. Impeachment is about cleansing the office. Impeachment is about restoring honor and integrity to the office.
Do you agree?
I was a lot younger.
But it sounds like some of what you're characterizing here, saying everything in the Mueller report, it may not be great, but it doesn't reach the level of being able to prosecute. That's different from what you described there, which was to say behavior of a president, cleansing of an office is important.
It's got to be a high crime and misdemeanor, not defined by the prosecution team, but by a political body called the House of Representatives, approved by the Senate. So there was an article of impeachment against President Clinton for lying under oath about having sex with Monica Lewinsky. I voted against that because I believe a lot of people would lie to protect their family if they were blindsided about an affair. So I didn't want that to become a high crime or misdemeanor. What President Clinton did was interfere in a lawsuit against him by Paula Jones and others, hide the evidence, encourage people to lie. So to me, he took the legal system and turned it upside down. But it doesn't have to technically be a crime. What President Trump did here was completely cooperate in an investigation, 1 million documents, let everybody that the special counsel wanted to talk to be interviewed. Don McGahn was interviewed for 30 hours. I believe the president did nothing wrong. Whether you like him or not, I'll leave that up to you. But this is
even the pressuring Don McGahn to fire the special counsel. He may not have done it.
If you're going to let that be the standard of impeachment, that you have an interaction between a White House counsel and a president that you find uncomfortable, then we'll have nobody served. So here's the deal for me. You actually have to do something. Bill Clinton lost his law license for 5 years because he did something. But to my Democratic friends, if you agree with the 1999 statement I made, you think this office needs to be cleansed, impeach him. It's up to you. If you think Donald Trump deserves to be impeached, then impeach him. I don't.
This is Lindsey Graham equivocating about his sanctimonious 1999 speech ahead of the Clinton impeachment, claiming that any president can be removed from office because of even the suggestion of impropriety, regardless of whether any crime was actually committed. Graham says that the reason Clinton was impeached was that he interfered in an investigation against him, hid the evidence, and convinced people to lie. But please do not convince that with Donald Trump, who interfered in an investigation against him, tried to hide evidence, and convinced people to lie. This cognitive dissonance couldn't be more apparent. In terms of interference, Trump fired Comey and twice tried to fire Mueller, both of whom were investigating him. He tried to hide the fact that he did it by demanding that Don McGahn deny reports that he ever tried to have Mueller removed. And he tried to convince people to lie, not only including McGahn about firing Mueller, but arguably Manafort and Flynn by dangling pardons for them. But Graham continues his baseless defense of Trump, bizarrely claiming that Trump completely cooperated with Mueller's investigation. This, despite the fact that Donald Trump himself refused to sit down and be interviewed by Mueller. How is the subject himself of the investigation refusing to show up, not to mention dangling pardons for associates who were cooperating and trying to have Mueller fired on multiple occasions? Complete cooperation. I'd hope Senator Graham would have a higher standard of complete cooperation than that. And if that is his idea of complete cooperation, that says a lot about how Republicans in Congress perceive our justice system. And here's the craziest part. When faced with the fact that Trump tried to have Mueller removed, Lindsey Graham tries to downplay a mere interaction between a White House counsel and the president, claiming that holding people to such an insane standard would make it so no one wanted to serve.
If you're going to let that be the standard of impeachment, that you have an interaction between a White House counsel and a president that you find uncomfortable, then we'll have nobody served.
Except the problem here is that that mere interaction was literally a crime. Trump trying to have Mueller removed was an inchoate crime, which is basically defined as an attempt to commit a crime known as endeavoring to obstruct justice, which is still a prosecutable offense. In fact, that exact charge was included in Nixon's articles of impeachment as interfering or endeavoring to interfere with the conduct of investigations by the DOJ, the FBI, the special prosecutor, and Congress. The issue here is not that Trump's actions didn't reach the standard of impeachment, because they do. It's that Lindsey Graham's glaring double standard is now obvious, and it makes him look like nothing more than a political hack. Because everyone knows that the same Lindsey Graham who preached about cleansing the office would demand a Democratic president be thrown into Guantanamo Bay for doing half of what Trump has done. So he can try to explain away why Trump is completely innocent, but given the slew of evidence of wrongdoing we've already seen, the only option we have is to
impeach him.